I feel like there's this process of surrendering to God constantly, whether it's where we realize we need him or just the journey with him, we are surrendering. Why do you think we see that? Believers maybe mainly see that as such a weak, wimpy word, and yet it's not.
I think it's probably an American stumbling block. When I speak with those who are Christians in the Asian population, submission, surrender has a whole different meaning than it does to us Americans, and even Europeans because of the whole Western thought process. Watchman Nee did some excellent writing on submission and surrender that are well worth reading. But when I came to the Lord again, so, I went through the deconstruction process. I began to reconstruct my faith. There was a moment when he spoke to me and he said, if you don't want your life, I do. That was the very first time I'd ever heard him out loud. It's the only time I've ever heard him out loud. But when I talked to him after that, I could tell which voice in my head was his instead of my mom's or my dad's voice or whatever. And so he asked me to trade him instead of yield, which is a very churchy word. Yielding is a churchy word. And I never did understand yield because it seemed like a traffic term. He said, trade me, though. And I said, oh, okay. Because I know about trades. As a Southern woman, that means I'm going to get the best of this deal. I guarantee it. So I traded him the very things he asked me. First thing was a boyfriend who really was not a godly man. This was after I was divorced. So I traded him that. And another one was a job. And we just kind of went from trade to trade. Finally, I found this book called Absolute Surrender by Andrew Murray. It is an enormous teaching in a very small amount of words that teaches us to surrender. So it seemed like he was taking layer off of layer, kind of like you peel an onion, but then surrender is like, whoop, chop right down the middle. Now we're getting to the center of things. And so it basically says all that I am, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that I'm not, again, the good, the bad, the ugly, and all that I ever hope, I surrender absolutely. That's it. There's no getting back on the altar and then getting off again, which I think is a problem. When you talk about yielding, it's like, okay, you get on the altar. Now I get off the altar. No, absolute surrender. You're all in. There's no more. White flag. You're done. It's all over.